We have 100 companies in the UK trying a 4-day work week for a while to see if productivity goes up, if employee engagement goes up. And they're having this national campaign where they're truly trying to push this idea of, hey, working 40 hours a week over 5 days is an outdated concept. We are not meant for this. It might have worked in the industrial revolution age, but right now we're in the modern knowledge worker age, and we have to focus on what works there. And working 40 hours a week, 5 days a week, just doesn't seem to fit the model. So they're making for a big push here to try to transform the UK into a 4-day work week country. And I think it's a very interesting proposition, especially since it's backed by the government. And they're trying to figure out, like, hey, is this a worthwhile experiment for us to do over the next decade? And maybe potentially even transform the company to be 4 days a week, let's say Monday through Thursday, for a majority of companies. I don't think this will apply to every single company, but there's a lot of companies that would benefit from this, and I'm all for it. We have done 4-day work weeks here at AE. We still do them. Typically, the way we do things is every summer we have 2 months of 4-day work weeks, and then during the wintertime, post Thanksgiving till the new year, we have another set of 4-day work weeks. So in total, people here get 3 months of 4-day work weeks, which is quite awesome. It's almost like extra 12 days of vacation for everybody in the company. And so we've been a big fan of it. What I've noticed is that when you have a 4-day work week, you tend to be able to get all the stuff done you would normally do in 5 days in 4 days. Now, some days might be a little bit longer, and some people do a different variation of it where they do, okay, we're going to take 5 days of work into 4 days, what we're doing now, or we just keep it to 4 days and you're not going to work any longer. Whatever we can do in 4 days in the time limit that we have is just what will be done. So that's another slight variation. And so there's a lot of ways to go about this. I've seen just a lot of benefits from it, from having an extra day of free time to do things you want to do, like your hobbies, working on passion projects, like your side hustle on the side, or just sleeping in on a Friday morning so that you can just enjoy a 3-day weekend, which I think all of us really enjoy. Every time we have a 4-day work week, I tend to catch up on other things I've always been procrastinating on. So it's like a book I've been wanting to read, or maybe a place that I wanted to visit, or catching up with specific people that otherwise I would never be able to meet. So I've been doing a lot of catching up on my extra days to kind of get up to speed. And when we get back to the 5-day work week after that period, I'm like fully organized and motivated and back into like focus mode. So I've been really enjoying it. How about you, Brooks?
Yeah, this is very top of mind because, like you said, just so happens we didn't really plan it this way, but we're in the middle of doing a 4-day work week as we record this episode. And I think there's a misconception that 4-day work week means you have to shut down the whole company on one day. And so the pushback against it is always, oh, what if you were in customer support? What if I'm in sales? That type of stuff where you feel like you can't just take a day off. It can be done in a rolling way. Like you don't have to have everybody off on the same day. You could definitely do it on a rolling style. That's what I think a lot of companies do. But this is fascinating how government is actually behind recommending it. So I think that's a really interesting thing. I've seen 4-day work week stuff in the news more. So I think there is more coming about this, and more companies are going to find that this is a way, like the article you referenced, they recommend it as a way to help with inflation. Companies that maybe can't afford to pay higher salary, maybe some of their employees might value the extra time more. So yeah, I've always thought of 4-day work week as a temporary thing, the way we've done it, as a productivity experiment, or at least that's how it started. But this idea of doing it permanently is kind of fascinating. And I think as companies are trying to attract employees more, this might also be a perk that they can offer people. Say, hey, if you come to us, maybe the salary isn't higher, but you have a 4-day work week, and some people might prefer the higher money. Other people might value the time more. So it's all about what you value.
I was sitting in an Uber last week, right before this article came out, and we were talking about a 4-day work week, me and this other guy. And this guy, he works for a big medical sales company, and they sell medical devices. And during COVID, during the early pandemic days, they had a rule in place where anybody who made over $100,000 a year would get a 30% pay cut for a few months to be able to stabilize the company and stuff like that. But when he heard about this whole idea of the 4-day work week, he immediately jumped out and said, wow, like I would have rather preferred to have a 4-day work week and even take a pay cut at the same time rather than working 5 days a week for all these long hours. And it would actually motivate him to stay longer at the company, but also he would find a lot more happiness and time for the things that he wants to do outside of work as well. So he was all for it. And I thought it was a really interesting perspective that he even said that he wanted to take a pay cut to be able to do something like that. Because I think as we get older, we start to realize the value of our time a lot more. And that's not always about work. And so, especially when you have children, that's something I've noticed with a lot of people, is that having that extra day means a lot more to them because it's able to spend time with their family and take them out or be able to do certain excursions that otherwise wouldn't be possible, especially when they're really young. So I think there's a lot of benefits to it. And if you're listening to this and you are running a company or running a team or you have the influence to potentially try a 4-day work week, that's something I would definitely encourage you to do so.